What up, guys? Joachim here, Joachim Justin Morgan, and in this video I want to talk a little bit about what we learn from the lives of the saints in general, and what we learn especially from martyrs, and why it is important to read the lives of the saints. So in the Orthodox Church, or in the Christian Church in general, since the beginning, there's been a martyrology, and there's been the Synaxarion, and records of the lives of these great athletes for Christ, people who we know to be saints, people who took on the very image of Christ. That's why they have the halo around them, is not because not just because of their works, but because they have taken on the likeness of Christ through their suffering, through their great holiness, through the ascetic struggle that they endured that caused them to do that. So just a few examples I have here is just ones that we're reading recently. So today is August, I think it's the 13th, August 13th, and a couple of days ago we read the life of, I think it's 12th. So a couple of days ago, we read the life of St. Lawrence, the archdeacon of Rome. He was actually flayed alive for not denying Christ, and two, he took the treasures of the church that were to be confiscated by the authorities, and he distributed them to the poor. And after doing so, he presented the poor to the authorities and said, "Here are the treasures of the church." So the authorities were not impressed with his actions, and thus they flayed him alive on one side. He called out partway through it and said, "Turn me over, I'm done on this side." So he's given great strength and piety. And so here was St. Euplus, who suffered great torture for refusing to deny Christ. They told him, after torturing him, they asked him if he would now deny Christ, and he took his free hand and made the sign of the cross. So this was very early. This was in the year 304, and he suffered and was eventually martyred and killed for his faith. Because he refused to deny Christ. He was another deacon. He was from Sicily. So, he was from Sicily. Specifically, he was from Catania. I forget how you say that. But, so these are great ascetic men, people who fought the struggle and who would not deny Christ even to the point of death. So why do we read the lives of, why is it important to do this, though? It is important because, I hope that I never have to suffer the way that these men do. I fear that, given, just torture, I fear that I may not hold up to that. So, one, if you ever do experience persecution, hope that you have the strength to hold to your faith and not deny Christ. But in a more practical sense, we experience this every day. When we are tempted by sin and we give in to that sin, we essentially deny Christ. When we are tempted by sin and we overcome that sin and we refuse our flesh and our own temptations, our own sinful nature, our carnal desires, when we refuse that and deny that and hold to holiness, then we overcome those things. We overcome the devil. We overcome the flesh and the lusts and the carnal desires of this world, so that we may live more fully to Christ. So it is very similar in a spiritual sense to these great men. Not that we experience the tortures, hopefully, that they do, but it does teach us that we must hold to Christ the same way that they do. So hopefully by reading the lives of these men and seeing this, it inspires us not to deny Christ and to give in to this world through our temptations, through sin, through the through breaking the commandments of Christ. So just some basic thoughts on the lives of the saints, and especially of martyrs and people like that. I know not everybody is a martyr in the books of the lives of the saints. So, some of them actually, it seems rare, but some of them actually, they just lead peaceful, quiet lives of holiness. So that's nice. Hopefully, each of us can only be so fortunate to do so. So a very a very broad overview of some of the lives of the saints are captured in a book that I actually really like. It comes from Ancient Faith Radio. I think they produce it, but it's called A Daily Calendar of Saints, and it's by Father Lawrence Farley. And yeah, it's just a very kind of broad overview. It is by no means a complete work of the lives of the saints. It's just some of the most common ones that you might hear in Orthodox churches in America. So I like that it covers some of the Western saints and things. Like today, the two that are most commonly venerated are actually Western saints, and that was Saint Lawrence and Saint Euplus. They're from Western countries. You occasionally get, even in this book, lives of the saints of the British Isles and of Ireland, and yeah, so I like that. I like to read the saints, Orthodox Christian saints from my own heritage, and then you get American saints. So as an American, it's even more inspiring that I see that in there. So yeah, and then there's obviously many more that are not included in this book, but they could also be lives of Orthodox saints that just are less commonly read. So that's it. You guys take it easy, and I will talk to you in a video coming soon.